I don't care what the group is. I don't care why you're protesting. When you show up with weapons, you are trying to intimidate someone. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, thank you for stopping by. If you are returning, thank you for coming back. Today, we are going to talk about something that actually happened almost a month ago. If you haven't heard, in the city of Cincinnati, I guess the surrounding area is actually Evendale, there was a protest by neo-Yazis. And you're wondering why I'm calling them that? It's because one, YouTube, and two, I just watched Reese Waters. He posted a video about it, and that's what he calls them. I can't actually use the actual word.
Yahtzee!
Gay.
You suck!
If you don't know who I'm referring to, Anne Frank wrote her entire diary about these people. That should give you a hint. Anyway, there was a protest on February 7th by neo-Yazis in Cincinnati in the Evendale community. Now, these people were bold enough to show up wearing all black, wearing masks, and to also open carry, meaning that they were walking around with rifles and guns. Now, me personally, I don't know too many people that can do a protest with guns the way that these people did and not have anything said or done to them. But the way they were escorted away was in a U-Haul, not police cars. They weren't arrested or anything like that by U-Haul. No, they were technically protected by freedom of speech. Ohio is an open carry state. So their protest was actually protected by state law. Now, the issue, besides the fact that neo-Yazi still exists in 2025, is that some body cam footage was released between interactions between a police officer and one of the members of the neo-Yazi group. And this neo-Yazi person actually has their mask off so that he can talk to this person, talk to the police officer. And this police officer is not the only one who had his body cam footage released. He isn't. But it's the one that is included in the news. It's the one that's got a lot of people a little heated.
So about 5 minutes later, you could see the same officer walk up to the U-Haul outside of a Laughlin local schools building shortly before kids were about to be released from class that day. Here's the exchange now between the Evendale officer and the neo-Nazi group in the U-Haul, and the one man not wearing a mask you're about to see asking if he can go back and pick up his service dog where the protest happened on the overpass on 75.
So in today's episode of Shit That Don't Make Sense, why is school? I'm going to go see if I can figure that out. And if I find out why before I post this video, I'll be sure to include it like here. Just like, why is school? Especially when school's about to be let out. Like, my kids are not at school age, but I would be really heated if I found out the police took a group of neo-Yazis to a school. I don't know. That wasn't a good decision. I would not have made that decision. But I'm not the police. Would you have made that decision? I'm gonna hope that you would not have. Someone go tell the police over here to not take neo-Yazis to schools. Apparently that's not common knowledge among the police force. Please let them know. But anyway,
plan to get that.
Yeah, I don't know if we got to get him an Uber or something. That's probably the best bet, I'm guessing. I don't think anybody knows about.
There's a dog. If the dog in there is cool with, if the dog is in there is cool with me driving it to you guys, I can go and get it. But there's a dog in there. I don't know.
Yeah, we need to get.
He's my service animal. That's why I really need to get him. But
Get you an Uber. Let's go. Here,
Get your mask on. Let's go.
I don't give a my face right now.
just take.
I'm willing to bet the reason he didn't care about showing his face is because he didn't think that body cam footage would be showed. I will put money on that. I think if he had known that that body cam footage would have been shown on YouTube or Facebook, social media, whatever, I don't think he would have taken his mask off. But that's just me. Why show and wear a mask if you don't care what people know what you look like? It's because you do care. Because stuff like this could cost you your job. It can make it harder your job in the future. Not like getting a job isn't difficult right now anyway. If you would like to hear more about that, go see my last video. But you do care. You just didn't think that your face was going to be shown. You thought you were protected. Well, you weren't. And someone somewhere is going to find out who this individual is. It won't be me, but someone's going to find out. And I would love to know if you are that person so you can tell me who it is.
Just take take that black that shirt off, and you can get my car.
Cool, thank you, brother.
And then
God bless you, dude.
Why is he taking his shirt off? You don't want everyone there to know he's part of that group, but Like, why? He obviously doesn't care if other people know he's part of that group. But actually, maybe he does, because he did wear a mask. He wore a mask and he wore glasses. Well, I don't know if he wore glasses. Some people wore glasses, but he hid his face. So maybe he's not as proud of being a member of this group as he wants people to believe. Why are we trying to hide his identity from going back there? Because, in my humble opinion, someone who is proud of what they stand for wouldn't need to do that.
Okay, so the video goes on to show that officer drive back to the original overpass where the demonstration happened. Evendale police just released the video a week after it released footage from several other officers that day. On social media, the village of Evendale saying, quote, there is a significant amount of misinformation circulating on social media regarding the actions of Evendale officers on February 7th.
I don't know what misinformation they could possibly be talking about. That seemed pretty clear to me. They were taken to a local school, or at least around a local school, near drop-off time. They were taken there in a U-Haul. It looks like it was a police officer driving the U-Haul, which, I mean, I'm not surprised by that. That would kind of make sense. But then you see the police coaching him how to get back to get his dog while there's a angry mob, rightfully so, a mob of angry individuals, because this person and his Yahtzee friends decided they wanted to stir up some trouble. I mean, am I wrong? You tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me. I'm all for being told that I'm wrong. Is that not what just happened? Is that not what we just saw? That's what I just saw. Is that what you just saw? That's what I just saw. I don't know what kind of misinformation they're talking about. That was crystal clear to me. This person got help from a police officer to go back and get his stuff while there were still hurt and angry people there. And this, it's not like this was a person who is, demonstrating for something even peaceful. Like, he showed up with guns. What's peaceful about that? That means you're trying to intimidate somebody. I don't care what the group is. I don't care why you're protesting. When you show up with weapons, you are trying to intimidate someone. So this person just got help from a member of law enforcement to go back and retrieve the things while people were still there. It's one thing if the police officer went back by himself. It's one thing if he went back after everyone left, after everything was dispersed. No, they went while people were there. And it was when people were still there because the officer told him to take his sweater off. If people weren't there would have been no need to do that. So no, I don't see any misinformation. I see video evidence. Here's the other thing. Here's something that I also find really interesting. They seem so chummy. That's really weird to me. I'm not saying that police officers have to be mean and rude to every individual they meet. They actually don't need to. And I do also understand that when you are dealing with the public, as much as police officers do, that it is your job to control the situation. You need to make sure that tempers stay down. You need to make sure that the areas people are safe. I understand that. You don't have to be chummy with someone to do that, though. And they seemed a little too comfortable speaking with the police. I don't necessarily think that says anything about specifically this group of police officers, but I do think it speaks to how comfortable neo-Yazis are in general speaking to police in general. That's really concerning to me. I personally, if that was me looking the way I do, even if I wore a mask, I mean, I had dreadlocks, okay, and I'm clearly tan, so even if I wore a mask, can't see my face, even if I wore a mask and you can just see my eyes and I showed up with a gun strapped to me, I don't think I would be as chummy with the police officers, whether I wanted to be or not. I just don't think that they would. I don't think they would reciprocate that chumminess. I just don't. There's so many body cam footages too, just readily available, where people show up with guns. They have hidden weapons, or they're not even hidden. Sometimes they're out in the open. And you know what's really interesting too is this is the same state where there was a young black man in Walmart. If I can remember the year, I will put it here. If I can remember the year, I'll put it here. But I will definitely find an article and link you if you want to read it. He walked into a Walmart, black man with a gun, just walked in, didn't use it on anybody, didn't shoot anybody, just walked in. That was it. And the police took him all the way out. They were not nearly as chubby.
What's going on?
Gunshots in the store.
Gunshots, and a 22-year-old black man, John Crawford, lay dying on the floor of a Walmart in Beaver Creek, Ohio. Shot and killed by a white police officer, as seen here on surveillance video, almost immediately when they approached him. Crawford had been in the store for several minutes, holding a gun and talking on his cell phone. An eyewitness named Ronald Ritchie called 911.
There's a gentleman walking around with a gun in the store.
Is he got it pulled out?
Yeah, he's like pointing at people.
What does he look like?
He's a black male, probably about 6 foot tall.
5 weeks later, the 911 caller told the Guardian newspaper, quote, "At no point did he shoulder the rifle and point it at somebody." Crawford's girlfriend had been waiting in their car. After the shooting, police questioned her, accusing her of lying, asking her where Crawford got the gun, even saying she appeared to be high on drugs.
And this is a true story. This was several years ago. I think I was like maybe 25, 26 when this happened. It's a completely true story. It was maybe about an hour away from where this is happening now. So not the same city. Granted, not the same city. But that was one person. And they felt like everyone's lives was in danger. This is a group of people that showed up unprovoked in public on a bridge with Yahtzee signs and flags with multiple weapons. And they get escorted out in a U-Haul. Now, this last part is the chief of police speaking, and she says something that I do actually agree with.
And I am calling on the legislatures in Ohio to make it a crime to wear a mask for the purpose of intimidation while open carrying a weapon.
Representative Cecil Thomas is trying to craft language that would restrict hate groups and stand up constitutionally.
It doesn't prevent them from coming in masked, but they can't come in masked and armed.
They say all the time, we support the police. We support the police. Well, if you support the police, do something.
I completely agree with her. If you support the police and you want them to do something about this and not protect, well, I don't want to say not protect. Well, yeah, I do want to say that. Not protect Yahtzee speech the way they did it. You need to write laws that they can enforce. Because regardless how we personally feel about this, and trust me, I don't like it. I'm sure anyone who's watching this doesn't like it. Regardless of how we feel because of the way the law is written, the police really can't really do anything. They can't arrest them or anything like that. As far as I know, I'm not a legal expert, but when you live in an open carry state that allows you to wear masks and cover your face, and you're protected by the First Amendment so you can walk around with Yahtzee flags all over the place, putting them up against the bridge, what do you really expect the police to be able to do? I'll tell you what I expect them to do, like with the laws as they're written. I don't expect you to be chummy with them. I don't expect you to give them a police escort back to their car. I expect you to not be so nice when you talk to them when you open the U-Haul. I expect you not to coach them how to get back while there are still people there upset to get your stuff. I mean, that's common sense stuff. But in terms of legal things, in terms of like what police can do, yeah, they actually cannot arrest them for having that ideology. They can't arrest them for having guns out, and they can't arrest them for having guns out with their face covered. So if you want to do something about stuff like that, yeah, you have to put something in the books that the police can enforce, because otherwise you really do kind of put them in between a rock and a hard place. And I know, especially as a teacher, what that feels like when there's politicians writing laws about what goes into schools that are out of my control, but I have to teach it or I have to enforce it, and then the community doesn't like it. The person the community gets mad at is not the politician who wrote it. The politician who probably has never been in a classroom, has probably never taught anything, and their most recent experience in a high school setting is the day they graduated. They don't get mad at that person. They get mad at me, and I didn't write it. So yeah, I can kind of understand too that you put law enforcement in a really awkward spot when you allow people like these Yahtzees to show up and they can cover their face and then show up with weapons and Yahtzee flags and then nothing's done to them. So that reinforces the idea that, hey, this is okay and I can do this again. I'm allowed to do this. I'm allowed to make people feel uncomfortable in their neighborhood because they know I'm here and they know the police won't do anything. Well, what are your thoughts on this? I would love to hear your thoughts. Please leave them in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.